from the last episode.
We are being so manipulated and it's horrible.
And let the vampire story continue.
Snoopy, we're coming for that Primogen booty. Hello everyone and welcome to the next episode of Vampire the Masquerade Swansong, in which we are snooping on the Primogen. We have checked Hilda McAndrews already, having a lot of very emotional moments looking at the picture she painted of her child, Mem, another protagonist of the game that she is probably still in love with. But now we're going to go check on a little bit less of a lovey-dovey sire-child relationship. I think so, at least. They don't seem to be very much, ex-lovers types, but maybe, who knows. Beryl Underwood, the child of Caleb. Hi. Oh, he's right there. Am I using my obfuscates? I guess, yes, I am. Good. Well, that is a super cool. I just opened these doors like right in front of him, by the way. I really hope that he didn't notice. That's a really cool bathroom. I gotta say, there is a difference in between the Toreador Primogen headquarters and the Ventru Primogen headquarters. Look at this. They're all identical.
Ugh, these suits. Beryl's as dead outside as he is inside.
Why would you need so many suits? You have people to wash them. Why would you need to have so many of them? Identical suits. It's so weird. And use all specs. Make sure that we can sniff something on these suits. No. Okay, we cannot. What about here? Can we smell what kind of a lotion are you using? Is this going to give us a little bit of a indicator whether you like to rebel against the prince, if you're using a little bit more fiery colognes, maybe? I don't know, but what I know for sure is Beryl does seem like a guy that seems to be so tough on the outside, but personally he just likes really long showers, and he buys this very feminine fruity scents, like shower gels and stuff like that, and he just really likes to smell like a freaking lily or a little rose or something. That would be pretty sweet. I don't think there's anything here. Maybe it's on the bed though. Under the pillow. Oh, here.
The speculative news from... Oh, he's about as fun as his reading material.
He's the kind of a guy that would probably talk to you about crypto. Let's go to check out the bigger room of Beryl. What does he have here? Oh, of course, a big picture of a city. Is very, very stereotypical. Let's have here. Dear Mr. Underwood, as agreed, here is your payment. Thank you for your confidentiality. You are indirectly contributing to one of the greatest forensic discoveries of our time. If by any chance you still have bloodless bodies in good condition to offer us, please let us know. Sincerely, Dr. Karen Parsons, Boston Medical Center. Wow. Wow. I see. Dear Sir, Miss Iverson is honored to invite you to the Grand Unification Party in the presence of representatives of the Hartford Chantry. Your presence at these festivities is requested the evening of September 4 at 11 p.m. at First International Place, Boston. With our greatest respect and consideration. Reminder, was this party starting at 11 p.m. or was it supposed to be earlier? Also, why is he here and not on the party? Because I know that there was Hazel and Osborne were supposed to come later, but what is later? Is it later after midnight? I know that there was an hour somewhere, but damn, I forgot. What do I do with him? Auspex him? Not sure. Dear Mr. Underwood, here's the report you requested. Attached you will find all of the documents I was able to gather. Unfortunately, I was unable to collect much useful information about Miss Fang's time in China. Oh, he is snooping on Fang. But it might not have been the most interesting period in her life. A fairly typical education, exactly what you would be expected of the upper class. What is a little less expected is that shortly after her arrival in the US, she was admitted to the economics department of MIT. This was in large part thanks to her publications on the blue economy, which led her to join the Diora ratification project in the Indian Ocean. At the same time, she defended her dissertation on blue biotechnology, which I recommend that you read in its entirety. You can imagine that someone of her ilk was highly sought after. She was wooed by major multinational companies before she even graduated. However, she refused all their offers and instead founded her own startup company, Newman Fang Blue Tech. From one round of fundraising to the next, the company quickly became a reference for any group that was looking to make over their image to appear a little greener. If you browse their website, you'll quickly realize how important many of their clients were. As for the more confidential information, I learned that several governments, in particular Luxembourg and Canada, recently reached out to her. For the moment, it's only a matter of advice and informal discussions, but the speed with which she has broadened her influence is highly impressive. My conclusions regarding her are the following. She is brilliant. One might imagine that she is an idealist, but while her actions do seem to me to be guided by an ideological perspective, she is extremely pragmatic in integrating herself into the upper echelons of society. What's more, she has true business acumen, as her startup is one of the most successful in the country. You have every reason to take an interest in her. I can set up a meeting with her if you'd like. Your eternal servant, Jason Moore. So again, Jason, he is appearing in this notes quite often, the human servant to the kindred. I wonder what kind of a role he's going to play in all of this. So it seems like Miss Fang, who is the candidate to a child of Caleb, is sought after by Mr. Underwood. I wonder if Mr. Underwood was the very first person that actually was seeking after Fang, and maybe Caleb snatched her. Like, who the hell knows? But we need to definitely investigate this in the form of Caleb, because he will be interested to know. What do I do with him? Can I click on him somehow? Well?
How am I not surprised?
What doesn't surprise you?
For you to turn up at a time like this.
We're both
The
obfuscating?
prince had me released.
Of course, she needs you. I'm guessing she sent you to spy on the council.
I could change subject, but his focus is there. What are you imagining?
What do you mean?
Tell me, do you remember the last time she pulled you out of your musty hole?
It's just that
You don't remember, do you? You're still having those little memory issues, it seems. And I suppose Halsey's here too.
Of course she is.
The more the merrier.
Don't start with me, Beryl. Otherwise...
Why don't you go out and play in the sun?
Wow.
And let me get back to work.
Work. With everything that's going on. Hazel will appreciate your dedication.
Get out, please.
I need to find something on him.
That's all I'm going to be able to find out about him. Hazel's gonna be disappointed.
Shit. Oh no, we failed this. Is that because I talked to him? Also, I had a little bug with the obfuscate with him.
Go bother someone else then, please.
God damn it. It's okay. We failed it. I didn't know why I talked to him. That's fine. It's okay.
Sure.
And now he's a slash.
Restricted access means nothing to you, I see. Make yourself at home. Don't mind me.
Alright, okay. So, because we entered in the obfuscate, we weren't supposed to enter here in the obfuscate. So, there was a little... like, he didn't notice me at first, and now he noticed me, so I triggered the dialogue which was supposed to happen at the beginning of entering the room. That's okay. Just a little buggo. Alright, let's go and check out other places. We weren't successful on this guy, unfortunately. I really wanted to get to know more, but I think our abilities were just not matching him. And that's okay. Sometimes you gotta fail in order to win somewhere else. So Richard Dunham.
Richard's apartment.
Oh wow. That's our psychologist, isn't he? Interesting.
He didn't change a thing, as usual.
So she remembers this, huh?
Richard always liked masks. Like all children of Malkav.
So Richard is also Malkavian. Hey, Halsey. Dear Dr. Dunham, as instructed, I have prepared the donors you listed for the unification party. They will be ready for you to pick up at 9 p.m. at the Red Saloon. I think that your guests will be impressed by the quality of the vintages you're offering them, and I hope that they will fully appreciate the fruit of your labors. This is something that we've read about before. What you doing, Halsey? We read about the fact that he was supposed to prepare the victims beforehand, so that's nothing new. What do we have here? Archived Combination Report 1978. March 6. Unknown origin, 13 members of the court caught in a sudden collective panic for several minutes. Quentin King, our prince, called for an investigation.
Must be hiding somewhere else.
Closed without any conclusive findings in 1988 after the prescribed 10 years of investigation. October 31. Unknown origin, the servants of the Primogen apartments began to hum the same song for 1 hour.
Not there. Where are you, Mr. Teddy?
Quentin King, our prince, called for an investigation. Closed without any conclusive findings in 1988 after the prescribed 10 years of investigation. October 31, unknown origin, the servants in the prince's quarters all laughed hysterically for 1 hour. Quentin King, our prince, called for an investigation, and it was closed again 10 years later with no reports. Miss Hazel Everson, our prince, reported feeling a sudden and brief mental intrusion during her speech. Mr. Hazel Everson...
Teddy.
Our prince called for an investigation. Closed after the investigation, report delivered in person. Unknown origin, feeling of imminent death felt by several members of the court lasting several minutes. Miss Hazel Everson called for an investigation. Closed after investigation.
Must be hiding somewhere else.
Unknown origin, servants in the Primogen's apartment began vomiting for several minutes. The vessel's presence experienced uncontrollable crying fits throughout the night. Nothing in the investigation, so this all seems to be the effects of dementation, which is an ability within the dominate discipline in V5. Originally, back in the days, it was its own discipline.
Must be hiding somewhere else.
Nowadays, it's merged with dominate, so that means every person that possesses dominate could be able to dement the brain of another. So this could be a work of a Malkavian, could be a work of a Ventru, or literally anyone else that has a dominate. And it could mean that a person that was present in the court since back in the day, since when exactly? Let me just check very quickly. March 6, 78.
Where are you, Mr. Teddy?
I feel like we need to check out anyone who was in the court starting from this time that could actually influence this. I feel like it could be Richard himself, but I don't know. I'll read up on him in a moment. Can I read whatever is here? No. Going to close these drawers. So in the comments,
Teddy.
I know. So in the comments was like, "Hey, you gotta close the drawers behind yourself. You gotta be proper." So I'm trying to be proper. Let me talk to Halsey to make sure that she is not as intrusive as she is right now. Girl.
So, did you find your teddy?
No, not yet. I'm not sure he's here. What about you? Did you finish your job for the prince?
Yes, I found
I?
something that might be of interest to Hazel.
But I still need
Does
to
that
do
mean we're going back
things.
to see the prince then?
I'm not done yet.
Not quite, Pumpkin. I want to take another look around.
Yeah.
You wait for me here, but be good.
I will.
Alright. I wonder who was that person. I'm going to actually browse through the files and give you some of my ideas. Open. Search.
Maybe I'll find a way to read it.
Dr. Dunham's floppy disk. I see. Alright. What else do we have here? I use aspects very quickly just to give it another look. My reflection in the mirror is
He
distorted.
must be hiding somewhere else.
He must be hiding somewhere else? Possible. Here? No. Nothing in the covers. I would totally look for these covers if I was you, Leisha, but that's okay. Do we have anything else here? Oh yeah, floppy disk. Consult. Dear Miss Iverson, as per your request, Mr. Underwood came to the Red Saloon.
Not there. Where are you, Mr. Teddy?
To carry out a review in view of the collaboration with the Hartford premiere, we can confirm that production can triple if we expand operations into our basement. I think it would be wise to create a reserve and allocate only 1/3 of our production to Hartford. We will also provide a temperature-controlled storage area for this purpose. As for your more practical questions, please do not include the formulas I have been able to work out in your dealings.
Mr. Teddy.
Mr. Underwood also feels that we need to keep them secret in order to keep the advantage in this agreement. We both feel that convincing them to send Tremere to Boston to perform the blood stabilization tests would be a better alternative. As for an industrialized production of more than 400 units per week, I prefer to err on the
He
side
must
of caution.
be hiding somewhere else.
I'm able to produce everything alone in my laboratory. Aiming for more at the start would require a move, and would surely get us noticed by our suppliers of raw materials. I hope to have provided you with the missing information for your discussions on this agreement, which, in addition to the giant step forward that it will make possible for science, will undoubtedly be the dawn of the new Boston under your reign. Sincerely yours, Dr. Dunham.
Richard must have had a breakthrough,
No,
if Hazel's
not
interested
there.
in it.
Where are you, Mr. Teddy?
I see. Can I do something else here? Examine?
Only Richard would still use that.
You mean the CRT monitor? You might be right. Who the hell wants to use stuff like that? Anything else in here?
I see guilt. Richard often asked me.
Anything else we can see in here?
How many hours have I spent sitting in this armchair for my therapy sessions?
Probably a lot. I can only imagine. Plenty. Alright, so we have searched through everything in here. I'm just making sure. Actually, just a little tip if you're playing this game yourself. Do go around using Auspex and not using Auspex, just because in Auspex you sometimes won't see these little dots that actually allow you to interact with something. So Auspex give you
Teddy.
a different... What do I do? Contemplate.
Richard always
Yeah,
liked masks,
nothing more.
like all children of Malkav.
Alright, let's go forward and let's see if we can see something there.
Ugh, impossible. It's locked.
These doors are locked, but maybe we can find something else elsewhere. We have so much willpower points. I would love to spend them. Beryl, that's Hilda. Let's check out what's outside of here. Auspex. Can I eavesdrop on people? Dijon. Oh yeah, wait, I do have a key to go to Dijon. I was stupid earlier. I was like, oh, you have to pick a lock. I can actually go here.
Nobody here. I'm going to be able to take a look around Dijon's.
Perfect. Search Dijon's apartment. Let's see what he has here. A really nice style for sure.
The Salem Gazette.
September 4th, 2019. The City Council has found a new home for the Sisters of Salem at the Salem Library in recognition of their organization's work in sharing and supporting their local history. While many know of the group thanks to the annual organization of their Hallow Mass and the Mighty Dead and Martyrs celebration, what's less well known is their implication with people in need throughout the rest of the year. They host newcomers to the area, troubled youth, and older citizens who are isolated. The Sisters of Salem have an extensive network of volunteers, and they are joined by about a dozen new members each year. Our community should be proud of the unity and mutual support shown by all of our fellow citizens, from their participation in the celebrations to the participation in the social and cultural volunteering done by this organization, declared the mayor after the City Council meeting. And she was also very proud to announce that her spouse has joined Sisters of Salem in the previous month. Inauguration planned for tonight at the Salem Library by invitation only. Okay, I see. Interesting. Guardian Ravens. Equipment, cauldron, ingredients, a raven, corn, raven droppings, corn straw. Blood magnet. Magnet and silver bowl. Own blood as the ingredient. Knife, candles, fresh bird's blood, skull, white candle wax, candles, white satin ribbon. Have seen the prey beforehand. The prey must not go underwater or cross the body of water. That's the illuminate the trail of prey ritual from V5. Restoration ritual, candles, skull, own blood, sacrificed animal. Okay. Maybe we can perform one of the rituals.
Just like New Orleans. This is definitely Dijon's place.
Is this how you live in New Orleans? I'm actually going to visit New Orleans this year for a LARP for the first time in my life. And if I don't see sailing alligators, I'm going to be very, very mad. Because now I have expectations. Oh, wow. Analyze blood.
Huh. It's from an animal. And it's still fresh.
Wow.
This knife has blood on it.
I see. I see. Interesting. Can I check out something more with aspects here? Not really. Alright. Study animal.
He must have done a warlock ritual.
So, I'm going to check out in a moment what kind of ritual he used. Observe.
A bird. Dead.
I cannot analyze the scene because I need education too for this. I'm not educated enough. Well,
Tarot cards. How fun. The Emperor, the Chariot, Temperance. Easy. Dijon is thinking about taking a trip.
well, good that you know tarots, girl. I wouldn't know that. What's there? Polaroid photo in the inventory. I really want to check it out. Nostalgia, recovering memories and images of her lost past is what ultimately drives Leisha. It restores our willpower. I see. So business cards restore MM's willpower and Polaroids restore Leisha's willpower. That's a nice touch. What else do we have in here? I'm sure there's something more here. Sure we're missing something.
Well, well. What have we here?
My dear sisters, I hope this letter will reach you quickly. Things are critical here. It appears that we've been the target of a major incident. A code red has been issued and we have not heard from those who had already gone to the party our prince had organized for the unification. This could be in our favor, because it's possible that the Hartford Chantry is behind it. Although I have faithfully served my prince's interests while negotiating this treaty, these new suspicions could serve our interests in relation to a potential alliance between Boston and Salem. Rest assured that...
He didn't finish his letter. But that'll be enough for Hazel to make up her mind about him.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. So wait a second. He was using the fresh blood of an animal. He was using the animal. There is also a skull and candles. Let me see. Very quickly. Was that a raven? I don't think so. Fresh bird's blood, skull, white candle wax, concealment ritual. He was trying to conceal something. So I was looking around, but I don't think I can find what was concealed, or maybe I'm just stupid. Well, if you will have more luck, let me know. I'm going to go away right now and see whether we can still maybe possibly check out on something more, get some more information, but if not, we're going to go back to Halsey. That was Jera. Oh wait, I haven't seen this. I am back in Jerry's apartment and there's something on her bed, but I cannot actually do anything with it. It's a box. I could pierce it with auspex, but I don't have enough of auspex, unfortunately. I didn't invest in that. Well, yet another thing we could have done if we had a differently built character. If you do not, if you're not able to solve anything in this game because of the lack of your skills, don't be worried.
Shit. Locked from the other side.
It's mainly because the game doesn't punish you long term for the fact that, for example, I wasn't able to check out Barrel's apartment, Barrel's like stuff this time, because you really have to have high stats in order to do anything with him, and I didn't. So it's too bad because I won't have anything on him, but at the same time, the game allows me to just pass through without getting that information, so it's fine. Let's see. I think we gotta go back to Hazel. Halsey, sorry. I mean, first Halsey and then Hazel. Hi, girl, you there?
Are you almost done?
Yes, I found something that might be of interest to Hazel.
Does that mean we're going back to see the prince then?
I think so, yeah, let's go.
Let's go, Sugarfangs.
Alright, I haven't found everything, but I'm fine with that.
Leisha. I'm all ears.
Everything went all right.
I knew I could count on you. Was Halsey a good girl?
Yes, as usual.
Good. Were you able to find anything interesting in Ms. Drury's apartments?
Yes, there was intel she had gathered on the guests, including those from the Hartford Chantry.
Anything about their regent, Deneb Osborne?
Yes, he seems to be obsessed with memory magic.
Interesting.
I gave everything to Delson.
Thank you. I'll take a look at it later. Were you able to see or hear anything interesting?
Okay, so I'm not going to pick on everything in here. I will talk about Hilda. I think that's safe.
Hilda was in her room. She was acting strangely.
What do you mean?
She was whispering things, talking to a picture of MM.
Touching, but that's of no importance.
I just wanted to give you that because I knew it's of no importance, but so you know that I did something, but I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you about the Jean's rooms.
At Dijon's, I found a letter addressed to the Salem Chantry.
Did he betray me for the Warlocks?
I don't know. It just said that he's participating in your project, but that he would have preferred an agreement with Salem.
Oh, I understand his recent illusions a little better now. I'm going to need to have a word with him. Go on.
Nothing else.
That's all I was able to find.
I knew I could count on you.
Hey.
Thank you, Leisha.
Richard still wasn't there. Were you able to find out anything else?
Yes, one of my servants just came back from his bar, the Red Salon, as that's where he does his research. I had hoped to find him there. But she confirmed that Dr. Dunham had gone to the party early with a few of his vessels. I'm sorry, Leisha.
No. If he had been destroyed, I would have felt it. I have to go find him.
You're the most discreet of all of us, it's true. But we have no idea what might have happened there. It could be dangerous.
I won't be alone. Halsey will be with me.
Not a good
Of
idea.
course. And one last thing. Dr. Dunham wasn't the only one there. There was also Miley, my child. Bring her back to me.
Yes, of course. We'll leave right away.
I wouldn't expect anything less of you. Thank you, Leisha.
Small manipulation. They're playing you, Leisha. They're playing you so much, girl. Okay, overview. Each scene ends with an overview of your accomplishments, failures, and what you could have done differently. For each success, your character earns experience points. Yay! Alright, so let's see. You mastered your power and spied on the conversation between MM and Journey. You listened in to hear what was on Hilda Smack Andrew's mind. You found a letter from the Jean Siska confirming his preference for the Salem Chantry, and you told the prince about what was in the Jean Siaka's letter. Alternative, you could have let the premonition overtake you. You could have given the prince the documents that would certainly clear Journey's name. Wait a second. I wanted to do that, but there was only an option to talk about Mem and Journey conversing together. Yeah, where? I skipped that option. I guess we had to pick that in order to give her the documents? Shit. I could have done... okay, she's gonna be fine. It's okay. You could have discovered Beryl Underwood's preoccupations. That is true, and I'm mad I haven't done that. But it's good to see alternatives, so see if you have a second playthrough of this game, if you want to play it again. These are the things that you can do. You can just, like, check out the things that you may focus on. Right. Not super happy with my performance, but it's okay. Let's see what happens next.
MM, come here.
I know what you're gonna say.
Go on. I'm listening.
You want to know why Journey isn't with me. I'll tell you why.
Yes, please. I'm all ears.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, we cannot. People, what do I do? Why is this not Twitch? Why can I not just ask you what to do, not to take responsibility of my own actions? Alright, make her think she put up a fight. I would fail this. I would fail this. There's no way I can tell her anything. Hair, like, it's... I told her to leave.
I was afraid for her. I convinced her to flee. I was afraid she'd be held responsible for tonight. I didn't want to take any risks.
And you're just confessing like that? To my face?
I got the
Do you
traits.
realize what you've done? I'm seeing to things myself. Go in the next room and await your new orders.
I mean, it's not like I would get a final death after first chapter, right? Wow. -10 for the next experience cost for the mental attribute. That's for the traits. And Sing Confess plus 10% success rate in rhetoric tie. That's cool. So I could have lied to the prince about what happened to Journey. That's true. I didn't lie. I was all truthful. I was honest. And I had a lot of successes, but also no failures. I am very happy with my progress here. That actually went pretty good. Do we do Mr. G now? Yes, Caleb Bazary, Eternal Protector. Mortal kings had their lackeys. The princes of Boston have Caleb. While rulers come and go, Caleb remains, and his presence tonight is not reassuring. How is it not reassuring? It should be reassuring. He's the stone that remains there, the rock that has never moved. Let's go for 3 again. And this time, I think we're going to go for a little bit more untypical Caleb, because I guess he would be more like dominative and intimidating. Deduction and education is something that I'm sure he would be very much into. Security, technology, yes. Mental. Psychology or persuasion? Do you think so? Persuasion. What disciplines does he have? He has fortitude, presence, dominate, and auspex, actually. We do have this. Presence, dominates. Can I go for level 2 dominate? Yes. Okay. I'll go with this. This sounds good. Hi, Prince. Prince. Prince has a tattoo on her back saying hi. It's Hazel Iverson, I know.
My prince. Delson.
Zori.
It seems that the Camarilla is in danger. I am at your disposal.
Your sense of duty is a credit to you, Caleb. You haven't lost your touch, I hope. The code red is linked to the unification party with the Chantry. No one there is answering anymore.
Who's there from our side?
How many of us were there?
Probably a good 20, give or take. Dr. Dunham and our top spy, Jara Drury, were already there.
We might have lost 2 members of the Primogen.
Any word from Hartford?
What about Hartford? Have you heard from them?
If those dogs had anything to do with what happened, I'll cut their throats myself.
Do you think they might be involved?
I don't know.
Go on.
It's too early to draw any conclusions.
Where do you want to start?
Can I count on you?
You have no reason to doubt me.
One by one, the Ancilai heed the beckoning and go east. You're the eldest in the city now. Don't do this to me. Not now. I would be very grateful to you. And Fang.
How may I be of service?
Go and see Caius with Jaragon. He's in charge of security. He may have learned something.
You can count on me.
You have my absolute confidence, Caleb.
Caius. The mysterious K, huh? This guy just looking at us like, okay, all right. I love his theme music, it's so good. Find Caius Leto. Well, good thing that we're not going to find Jared Leto, because that would be some morbid time. I'm sorry. All right. Anyway, very quickly going to the Boston. So let's read on our sweet Ventru, Caleb, protector of the Camarilla, and see what he's all about. He is a Ventru of generation 11th, sire Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, child Beryl Underwood, we know that already. Date of embrace 1745. The imperial throne. In 1710, in Constantinople, Mihrisha, the king's light, gave birth to Shehzad Suleiman, her firstborn son. Mihrisha, whose birth name was Jeanette de Bazory, left France and joined the harem of Ahmed III, Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, the previous year, and quickly became his favorite. She was a doting mother who was constantly concerned about the child who was destined to inherit his father's throne. Suleiman, for his part, was given an excellent education and learned about courtly life with his younger brother, Shehzade Mustafa. I'm sorry if I'm destroying these names. The two brothers had very different personalities. While Suleiman was quiet, stubborn, and adventurous, Mustafa was more versatile and fearful. Okay. The fall. In 1730, their father, Ahmed III, became unpopular, and the Janissaries revolted against him and forced him to abdicate in favor of his nephew. From that moment on, the seething Suleiman began plotting revenge in the long term to restore his father to the throne. Although he was aware of the problems this would cause, he felt that the only thing to do was to put the rightful ruler back on his throne. His mother, having heard of this, made him promise to give up his plan and disappear before the Janissaries could kill him. She convinced him to leave for the west by faking his death. Suleiman secretly set sail one night in 1732. Mihrisha died a few weeks later out of the grief over the loss of her son, it was said. However, the truth was quite different. Having caught wind of her betrayal, the Janissaries murdered her. Aww. New life. The boat that belonged to Jeanette de Bazory's family took Suleiman to the port of Antwerp, where, in homage to his mother, he called himself Caleb Bazory. He was adopted by a family of diamond merchants who traded between Europe and the New World, and whose newfound fortune grew rapidly. Under their guidance, Caleb sailed the oceans in search of new business ventures. He honed his knowledge of astronomy and mathematics, forged relationships around the globe, and used the opportunity to weave an impressive web of influence. His business dealings brought him into contact with aristocrats, whose conventions he mastered, as well as with drunken sailors whom he learned to manage. Out of necessity, he became a leader. His natural authority and his ability to adapt won him respect. Little by little, his life on the deck of the ship became his only source of pleasure. He never set foot in his native land again. It was through sailors that he learned of his mother's death, followed by that of his father and finally his brother, Mustafa's third ascension to the throne. A throne that could have been his, a family that he could have saved. No matter how far he sailed, these thoughts were always with him. Oh, Caleb! The embrace. During a stop in Cadiz in 1740, he met Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, a renowned French explorer and merchant who had supposedly died in Moscow in 1689. There we go. In reality, he was a venturer seeking to expand his control of the diamond trade at all costs. The collaboration between the two men proves to be fruitful, even beyond Tavernier's expectation. Bazory's effectiveness and his discretion delighted him. In the space of a few years, their professional dealings were enriched by secrets, and the young sailor saw in his mentor the father figure that he had never really had. One calm night, after a particularly turbulent Atlantic crossing, Caleb opened up to Tavernier a bit more and told him about his background. Tavernier understood what appealed to him about the young sailor, his nobility, which, although hidden, naturally emanated from him. A thought came to the Tavernier, who had never sired anyone before. He began to treat Caleb like a true member of his family and spoke to him about the occult to gauge his reaction. Then came the thorny issue of revealing his true nature. Tavernier portrayed the embrace as a gift. It didn't take much to convince the young sailor of the value of agelessness. Caleb accepted. His embrace was painful and bitter. It took him several days to be able to tolerate the beast that would now gnaw at him for all eternity. Tavernier attempted to focus his child's anger on the revenge he would get against those who had deprived him of his throne, but Caleb did not see things that way. His thirst for justice was replaced by a disgust for humankind and a growing disinterest in their affairs. He now wished to rise above the kind, to use his eternity for previously impossible purposes. His sire, who saw a certain interest in it, let his child experiment. Caleb spent half a century roaming the seven seas of the globe, getting rich by acquiring diamond mines and trading companies. He toyed with the laws of men, but scrupulously respected the principles that Tavernier had instilled in him. The mutually beneficial and balanced relationship continued until the early 19th century. Under the pretext of wanting to share his love of nature and the great outdoors with Caleb, Jean-Baptiste invited him to go to the Maurice region to meet an old acquaintance of his, the explorer Toussaint Charbonneau. The gangrel chose to establish his den in the heart of the forest and lived like an animal. Despite his sire's instructions, Caleb had difficulty finding Charbonneau. After a physical encounter, the trapper understood why Tavernier had sent him this venture. So he attempted to share his connection to the animal world with him, as he had done with his sire before him. While Caleb was not interested in his ability to communicate with animals, his talent at tracking prey seemed more worthy of a kindred. It even proved to be necessary in the midst of this forest for palates refined as his, which was not to be satisfied with just any kind of blood. Yeah, how did he feel in there? What is his Ventru Bane, because Ventru usually pick a specific flavor of blood that they prefer. With practice, Caleb was able to track down his prey on his own. Charbonneau even trained him to differentiate the essence of mortal from that of a kindred, or even from that of a lupin. The onset of the winter season forced the men to part ways. Charbonneau heading back to the Pacific, Bazori returning to civilization with a new skill. So that's why I do believe Caleb has animalism too, I wonder. Although he would never reveal this to his sire, he was thankful to him for having given him this opportunity. Settling down in Boston. In 1806, with the Napoleonic Wars tearing Europe apart, Caleb met James Underwood, who, through the Sugar Trust, controlled the refined sugar trade. With the United States under an embargo, Underwood's business was failing. Caleb mustered all his knowledge to organize a large-scale smuggling operation, amassing a small fortune in the process. Underwood and Bazori formed a close friendship, so I do assume that, yeah, Beryl is his son. Okay. Beryl Underwood was born in 1807 and inherited the business from his father, James, when he died in 1833. Caleb knew Beryl as he had watched him grow up. Oh, so he saw him as a baby, and now he grew to be this dirty old man. Hoo-hoo. The 26-year-old heir asked the man he viewed as his mentor to stay with him and help him, and Caleb agreed for several reasons. His respect for this business-minded mortal, whom he deemed worthy of his interest, his honor that urged him not to abandon the relationship he had with James, and the profits he could make. Of course, you Ventru. Felt that his future lay in the New World, and that it was better to settle there as soon as possible. It was with the agreement of his sire that he moved to Boston for good. Tavernier sensed that Caleb had made great progress, and it was clear that the student had surpassed the master. He felt a kind of pride in this. While keeping his distance, he remained in regular contact with his child, treating him as an equal. It was on Caleb's advice that he moved to South Africa to set up new diamond mines. The child. Beryl Underwood exceeded Caleb's expectations. He was more talented than his father, and Wait though, a second. So, are you saying that Beryl was like 20-something? And is supposed to look 20-something? I think he was actually maybe embraced a little bit later from the looks of him. Or maybe it's just the humanity dwindling that makes him look this way. But a vampire cannot become involved with mortal over the long term without compromising their identity. Over the years, Beryl's doubts led him to question Caleb, who gave him a frank answer. He admitted his monstrous nature to him. Ah, I see, yeah. So he was not child beforehand, I see. This was far more repellent to Beryl, who became more determined and asked Caleb to give him the embrace, yeah. Caleb had never thought of siring a child himself, so he put off the decision and did not accept until 1869. That makes sense. Beryl's embrace was quick. He immediately felt empowered, his ambition knew no bounds, and he sought to enrich himself by any means necessary. The Sugar Trust became the center of an international conglomerate that extended beyond the sugar trade. Beryl was involved in every plot, every betrayal. Caleb began to be suspicious of him, and he withdrew, which Beryl did not forgive him for. Okay. Over the course of the 20th century, seeing Beryl's unscrupulous behavior corrupting the kind through the environmental and health impacts of his business, Caleb distanced himself from the business. Because, okay, Beryl is involved in some super shady deals, and Caleb still has some ethics, okay? He felt he had created a monster, a threat to all kindred. Quentin King, the Prince of Boston, offered him the position of executor of the prince, which he accepted as a means of escape. King made him one of his favorite tools, sending him to hunt down those who threatened the Boston Camarilla. After centuries of building a business empire, chasing opportunities, and eliminating competitors, Caleb derived satisfaction from the simple task of doing what he was told. He didn't count the kindred destroyed, the mortals killed, or the thin-blooded suppressed. He served his prince with his signature loyalty. Wow. When Beryl Underwood joined Quentin King's Primogen Council, Caleb grew wary. In recent years, the elders have started to feel an increasingly insistent urge to travel. That's the beckoning, right? Tavernier was one of the first to give in. Not having been warned, Caleb considered this a betrayal. However, he also felt the same need. He was almost ready to give in to it, but King's disappearance changed everything. Underwood asked Caleb to become the new Prince of Boston. Ooh! He hoped to be able to manipulate Caleb to serve his own interests, but Caleb knew his child all too well and refused this poisoned gift. So he was supposed to be the prince, and he said no. Wow. So it was Hazel Everson who became the Prince of Boston. Quickly she surprised everyone by proving to be much less manipulable than expected, which was a pleasant surprise to Caleb. He then decided to put himself at her service. Everson was happy to have a renowned ally like him and accepted. So oh wow, so Beryl has such power to influence who is going to be the next prince, and Caleb was supposed to be one, but Caleb said no, so he wanted to influence Hazel and probably still wants to really influence Hazel to do what he wants. That's cool. His interest in the Camarilla and his kind was renewed, as this new prince seemed to hold her own and had great plans for the future. It was during this same period that Caleb heard about the young mortal who had just graduated from MIT and had gone to Silicon Valley to found a startup specializing in the blue economy. He inquired about her and finally met her. Finally, he won her trust and offered to make her his ghoul, with the aim of embracing her in the near future. He hoped to make her the counterpart of Beryl's self-destructive drive. However, Hazel Everson did not subscribe to the same policy as Quentin King and would not grant the right to sire so easily. She even saw it as a way to maintain control over her precious Caleb, who was forced to wait. Consumed by the beckoning, he could no longer bring himself to leave without having repaired what he considered to be his greatest mistake. Oh wow, that's actually, I'm feeling more for Caleb now, because Caleb seems to be this very, like, serious venture, but this background shares a lot more info about him and sheds more light on what he deals with, the beckoning. Wow, alright, so that's going to be interesting. Trying to fight this while trying to stop Beryl from doing whatever Beryl does and trying to sire Fang. We are
Mr. Underwood, I'm sorry, but my instructions are clear.
You little shit.
I'm just following orders.
You have no idea what's at stake.
We're going to talk to our child in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me today and see you in the next one. Don't get lost in the night.